content before the countdown of the election. I hope that you all got out and voted. 7 p.m. is the last uh, time to cast your ballot in the 2024 election here in Tennessee. And I believe 7 p.m. is also the time for other jurisdictions in the United States. Please check out my last live. I asked you all if you voted, and we briefly discussed politics in a roundabout way. And I wanted to see how many of you voted and why didn't you vote. And that was the last commentary. So please check out that live. It's in the YouTube queue. This next live is a very harrowing story coming out of Maryland. And I wanted to get this out before the election and get it out before this week is over. News for Washington is the source. Thank you for joining me.
A shocking story out of Prince George's County.
The horrific scene involved a chainsaw. It happened last Friday in Landover, Maryland. A mother and daughter are charged in connection with the killing of a 71-year-old grandmother.
Hey, Scott.
We want to warn you, the details are disturbing and they are not suitable for children.
News 4's Darcy Spencer has the very latest.
Police say 71-year-old Margaret Craig died at the hands of her own family. The details laid out in charging documents are gruesome. Candace Craig, the victim's daughter, is accused of murder. Craig's teenage daughter, Celia Hardy, the victim's 19-year-old granddaughter, is accused of helping to cover up the crime. Police say the victim's remains were found in trash bags in the basement. Investigators say the mother and daughter dismembered the victim with a chainsaw and allegedly attempted to burn her remains on a grill and a fire behind the home.
I just think it was so horrifying that it defies belief for me.
Police went to the home on Hill Road in the Landover area Friday afternoon after a relative reported the victim missing. Police say Candace Craig opened the door and allowed officers inside. Police say those officers smelled the odor of decomposition when they went into the basement. Hardy allegedly told police that on May 23rd, her mom attacked the victim after the victim threatened to report Craig for fraudulent use of her credit card. The next day, according to charging documents, Hardy discovered her grandmother's remains in a blue bin in her bedroom.
It's a shame. Very sad. Very sad. And she did not deserve that.
Candace Craig charged with first and second degree murder. Her daughter, Celia Hardy, charged with being an accessory after the fact. Prosecutors say due to the condition of Craig's remains, it will be a challenge to determine exactly how she died.
Say it's disturbing is an understatement. It's horrifying.
According to those charging documents, Craig was murdered 10 days before her remains were found. Now, the mother and daughter both maintaining their innocence. They were ordered held without bond during court appearances here today. In Upper Marlboro, Darcy Spencer, News 4.
Both women will be back in court next month.
Okay, so that's older content. She's gone to trial. So this crime happened, I believe, a year ago. I'm bringing you the new information pertaining to this case. It's got 23. So it was May 23rd when Miss Margaret Craig was unalived by her daughter, 71 years of age. Her daughter's 44. The granddaughter, 19 years of age, Celia Hardy, helped her mother, Candace Craig, try to dispose of the body. According to charging documents, Hardy told authorities that her mother attacked the victim after the victim threatened to report Candace Craig for fraudulent use of her credit card. Next day, Hardy discovered her grandmother's remains in a blue bin in her bedroom, charging documents state. So was her bedroom in the basement? I'm kind of curious because they did mention the basement in this commentary. Investigators said the mother and daughter dismembered the victim with a chainsaw and allegedly attempted to burn her remains on a grill and a fire behind the home. It was not until 10 days later, June 2nd, that officers were called to perform a welfare check at the home in the 200 block of Hill Road at around 1:35 p.m. after receiving a call from a relative who had not communicated with Margaret Craig for several days and was worried for her welfare. Candace Craig opened the door, allowed officers inside. When the officers entered the basement, they immediately smelled the odor of decomposition, police said in a press release, which is the same information I just played. So obviously the daughter's, I'm assuming her bedroom was in the basement perhaps. Why would you even help your mother? How about that? Why would you help dispose of your own grandmother? Did you ask your mother how she died? Did you ask your mother why she killed her own mother? Did she tell her own daughter, I killed her because she was going to call the police because I used her credit card fraudulently? So that means she stole the card and used it. We're going to get to why it's probably best you don't have grown people live in your house, meaning your own damn family. So they smelled the odor of decomposition, police said in a press release. Victims' remains were found in trash bags in the basement. That's another thing. Why are you sleeping in a room with your own dead grandmother in a blue bin? Stay woke, everybody. To say it's disturbing is an understatement. It's horrifying, Prince George County State's Attorney Aisha Braveboy said. Candace Craig is charged with first-degree, second-degree murder. Celia Hardy is charged with being an accessory after the fact. Both are maintaining their innocence and were ordered held without bond on that Monday. It's a shame, very, very, very sad. She did not deserve that, the neighbor said. Margaret Craig lived in her home for decades. Her neighbor said she had been in poor health, but always waved when she saw them. I just think it was so horrifying that it defies belief for me, another neighbor said. Prosecutors said due to the condition of the victim's remains, it will be a challenge to determine exactly how she died. So that's news 4 with older content at the time of the homicide, okay? At that time. Now, let's see. Something I want to pull up. She's been found guilty. Hold on.
According to prosecutors, 46-year-old Candace Craig killed her mother, Margaret, last year following an argument over fraudulent credit card charges. Craig used a chainsaw to dismember her mother's body and then burned the remains on a barbecue grill in an attempt to get rid of it. Craig's 21-year-old daughter, Celia Hardy, pleaded guilty earlier this year to being an accessory to the murder after the fact.
After the fact. So 2 years later. So this happened a few years ago. 19 at the time at the commentary I played earlier, the granddaughter. They're older now. They finally, the mother has gotten her punishment. This was uploaded November 2nd of this year. Miss Craig was found guilty of murdering her mother. Maryland woman accused of killing her own mother before dismembering her remains with a chainsaw has been convicted of first-degree murder. The 8-day trial for 46-year-old Candace Craig ended on Friday afternoon when the jury found Craig guilty on all counts. Office of Prince George County State's Attorney said in a press release, the case came to light last May when Craig was arrested. Charging documents revealed gruesome details about the crime. Prince George's County Police said at the time, 71-year-old Margaret Craig was killed on May 23rd, 2023 by her daughter, Candace Craig. They also believe the 19-year-old Celia Hardy helped her mother, Candace Craig, dispose of the body. According to charging documents, Hardy told authorities that her mother, Candace Craig, attacked the victim after Margaret threatened to report Candace Craig for fraudulent use of her credit card. So this is the version from the daughter, the granddaughter. But what's crazy is they initially pled not guilty to the crime and were held without bond. Next day, Hardy discovered her grandmother's remains in a blue bin in her bedroom. Information I already brought you earlier. So the mother and daughter dismembered the victim with a chainsaw, allegedly attempted to burn her remains on a grill and a fire behind the home. So did anybody smell anything particular on this fateful day, evening, or whenever it took place? So police went to this home 10 days later. A family member was concerned about the mother, grandmother, and a welfare check was performed at that address, 200 block of Hill Road, around 1:35 p.m. Had not heard from her in several days. And as you heard, one neighbor say she had been ill. So what was wrong with the mother? What type of problems was she having? Did she still work, retired? What was going on with the mother? After her conviction, Candace Craig faces serious time in prison. In addition to the first-degree murder charge, Craig was convicted of second-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and disposing of a body in an unauthorized location. This was truly a heartbreaking case, said State's Attorney Aisha Braveboy. Candace Craig was heartless towards her mother. A daughter who was supposed to be taking care of her mother instead took advantage of her by stealing from her and then murdering her when she discovered the fraud. Hardy, Candace Craig's daughter, pleaded guilty earlier this year to being an accessory to the murder after the fact. So I don't know how much time the daughter got. It does not say. Just that she went ahead and pleaded guilty as well. And as I just said, you are sitting here dismembering your own grandmother. Who does this? This is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Wow, 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 wow. And we'll go back to a picture of the victim. Thank you for joining me. Washington Forest, the source for both of these stories. Because this one was from 23 when they murdered her. And now the daughter has gotten her sentence. She and her own daughter. Who throws away their life for this type of nonsense? Because this is nonsense. Someone has trusted you to be in your house with them living, and this is what you would do. Betray your own mother. Let's look at the pictures of these women. Mother, her child. Why would you kill your own mother? Because you were afraid she was going to call the police to say you had stolen her credit card. So what state was the mother in? Incapacitated, couldn't get out, asked her to go to the store for her. What? Did she usually give this woman her card, and then on this one day she decided to just go in her purse and take the card out? Had she done it before? So you got to ask all those questions. What was the state of the mother at the time of her stealing the card? The daughter to use the card, and she just decided this one day I'm just going to take the damn card. Has she been stealing the card? If so, what has she stolen and bought on the card? What did she buy on this fateful event that the grandmother found out she had fraudulently used her card? I'm going to talk to you all briefly about, as I call it, blind trust. You don't know the hour that one you're going to leave. You don't know if you're going to leave here by natural disaster, natural causes, or by homicide or accident. But what is utterly disrespectful is to leave here by the hands of somebody that you trusted, such as a friend, daughter, neighbor, family member, lover, child, parents, all the same. This woman trusted these two heathens in her home. Obviously, they lived with her because I didn't hear that they lived somewhere else. So imagine all these people are living together. This woman is elderly. She's depending on these people, perhaps, to do things for her, errand running, whatever. And this is what the daughter would think to do. So now let's ask if the daughter is on drugs and she stole either money off the card or bought something to sell to get half price. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But the point is she an addict? Was she an addict at the time of the crime? And as I said, has she been stealing from her mother before, other items out of the house, and or taking money off the card? Did she give her the pin to the card? This is why you can't trust people. You can't give people pins. You can't give people access to your credit cards, Cash App cards, because they will, whether they're related to you or not. And it's no telling what this heathen here had been doing with her, which was probably absolutely nothing. She was just a bum. And now her daughter has walked in her footsteps. Come on with it. So the mother had two bumps in her house, her own child and her grandchild. And we're seeing an uptick of people murdering their parents. Why, I do not know. There was a very heinous crime that took place in Knoxville, Tennessee, where I live, of a white boy. I'm going to call him a boy because that's what he was, acting like a boy. He killed his parents and he cut them up as well. Put one of them in a big boiling pot on the stove. And they knew it was trouble, the detectives, when they peeped through the windows and saw a gruesome scene inside through the windows. through the windows versus what they actually saw when they got inside. And he was upset because his parents were cutting him off. He was a, I believe, 28-year-old male who wasn't doing his part, his share in the world. He had not carried his weight. He was still attending, I believe, college in Louisiana, or was sloughing off, not doing what he needed to do, hadn't got a degree from the university. He should have been and graduated, but hadn't. They had been paying his bills, paying his rent. They were tired. They were going to move up a little ways from me and live where their daughter lived, if I'm not mistaken. They were selling their house in, I believe that's Farragut, Tennessee. They were tired. They wanted a new life for themselves, and that's their business. But they were not afforded that opportunity. He murdered his family at Thanksgiving. That's when they decided to give him the good news. Hey, we're done, cut you off. And he retaliated by murdering both his mother and father. You see, you don't know people. And sadly, a lot of people see the signs that the people are off, mentally deranged, they got a bad attitude, they're nasty, and they still continue to deal with them, continue to have them living in their house. My advice to you is, if you see the signs that a person is using you and they will not try to get a job, do for themselves, you need to cut all ties with them. And that means just what I said, all ties. So whether they live in their own house, their own apartment, cut them off. Because see, they had no idea him coming home for Thanksgiving, he would pop off after they told him, hey, we're cutting you off. Even if they'd have told him on the phone, they wouldn't think he'd drive all the way home and kill them. Come on now. Because it goes back to what I just said, you don't know people. But when you see signs that they're deranged, they act off, you might need to cut them off. But people just don't. But once again, they're not thinking, oh, they're going to murder me because I say something they don't like. And that's what you have here in this case of this Black woman killing her own mother. She stole from her mother. The mother found the fraud, confronted her, and she killed her, and then she asked her daughter to help her after the fact. What is more disturbing is, one, the daughter helping and not running to the police to say, hey, my mother killed my grandmother. Two, she's sleeping with a dead person in a bin in the same room. Checkmate. Come on with it, Queen. So that means there's something wrong with the daughter and the granddaughter. So now you got to ask yourself, who the hell did this woman raise as a 40-something-year-old woman, and then this granddaughter raised by the 40-something-year-old woman? What is the old saying? Sins of the mother? It used to be sins of the father. Well, sins. Now people are going to question what type of relationship this elderly woman had. She's nice to her, kind to her, mean to her, used her. Don't really matter, because we all have to stand account for our ways, do we not? Even if the mother was a mean old granny, the point is you should have got the hell out of her house. If she was unkind, a tyrant, then why be there? And why have your daughter there? See, this is why you know this one here didn't carry her weight for her to be living with the mother. Then she's got to tow her own grown-ass child. So now you got to ask how long these two were living with this 70-something-year-old woman at the time before her murder. That's why I said that's the start of a problem. Grown people living with one another. Everybody can't do it. And you're seeing the fallout of grown people living together. It don't work. Now, some of you all can live with other people and y'all grown. I don't advise it. I just don't advise it. Because terrible things happen, such as this right here. And this is the terrible something that people just won't even imagine in their head. Oh, they could suffocate me in my sleep, beat me to death, try to get my money, my life insurance policy, my Social Security check. You have people doing that, killing people just for the Social Security check and living off the check, and nobody knows the person's dead, especially if they ain't got friends or family coming around, banging on the calling, sending the police. Nobody knows. And what's even more disturbing than just that daughter sleeping in that bedroom with her grandmama feet away? The fact that the police said they smelled the stench when they went inside. So that means you were sleeping with a dead person in a tub next to you and you could stomach it? Stay woke, everybody. You could stomach knowing your grandmama in the tub, in bags, however disposed. You have ate after the fact, and she smells. And she's so badly decomposed, Just 10 days later, they can't even render manner of death. Wow. So, Miss Craig, how did you kill your mother? Wow, wow, wow. Sins of the mother, indeed. So we got two heathens. A mother who should be rearing this child properly but didn't. And eventually this one here will probably get out. And what will her fate be after she does her time for accessory after the fact? And who's going to date this thing here? Somebody will. Somebody will even impregnate her. Come on with it, Queen. Because this right here don't need to be nobody's mama either. Come on. Take you to church today. That thing don't need no kids. That thing don't need a boyfriend, a husband. That thing don't need a dog, a parakeet. That thing don't even need to be somebody's mate. That thing right there, either. 2 for 1. But this one here, the youngest one, she will eventually get out of prison. And she'll try to go out here in the world and live. And as I said, how is she going to navigate with that hanging over her head as a criminal record? Aiding your own mother after she's killed your grandmother. And then you didn't just hide the secret. You were aiding in burning the woman, chopping her up before that. I want you to think about that. Who is going to want this thing in their life? Sadly, this thing was walking around in somebody's life, such as grandma, and dealing with other people. Now, what are other people thinking? Wow, she killed her own mama. Chopped her up and then tried to burn her on a grill. Well, I'll be damned. Wow, 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 wow. This is the world that we live in. Simple little house. Who knew that was happening in there? And for all we know, they might have been abusing the woman. That's the lady who is no longer alive. Life snuffed out, fooling with her own daughter. And as I said, who's to say how they treated her while living in her house? Were they nasty to her, talked down to her, mistreated her? Was she bedridden? Don't know the situation. But just imagine being in a house with people who you can't trust and you have nobody else to rely on, and you're even afraid to even call somebody to tell them, hey, I need you to get me out of here. Hey, I need you to get these people out of here. See, we don't know all the circumstances. What I like to hear are circumstances. I'd like to know if this woman and her daughter were problems for this elderly lady. Did she ever carry her weight in life? Why were they living with her? How long were they living with her? Does she have a criminal background? Has she been in trouble with the law? Had the daughter been in trouble with the law? Didn't hear that this young girl even had children, the granddaughter. Amen, thank you. Is this her only daughter? Suspect, criminal. Was she dating? Did she have a boyfriend? Who else was trafficking in the house, coming in and out of the house? Did anybody else know of this murder, dismemberment? So you have to ask all those questions, because you'd be surprised who also holds the secret besides the ones that's arrested. Now. Dirty. 2 dirty birds out of Landover, Maryland, dismembering her own mother after murdering her and also trying to set the body on fire. Daughter sleeping in the same room with the dead woman in a bin, smelling up the house. And don't even go tell the police, hey, my mother killed my grandmother. She's in a bin in my room. Stay woke, everybody. What a horrific story. Prince George County. Margaret Craig is the victim. She died last May 23rd by the hands of her own daughter, 44-year-old Candace Craig, and Celia Hardy, the 19-year-old at that time, aided her mother after the fact. They both have been found guilty in a court of law. That's the latest. That's the house where this horrific crime took place. See, this is what I always tell you about homes. Going by houses, looking. You never know what's going on behind closed doors. No matter if it's a trailer, a big fancy house, $200,000 house, $500,000 house. You drive by the neighborhood looking at the homes, wondering how the people are living, what they got going on, what do they do for a living. I do it all the time when I drive by neighborhoods. Just who lives there? What they got going on over there? What kind of people are living in there? See, you don't know. So imagine the people who drove by this house for 10 days. Did they smell anything? Because if you smell it going into the door, I won't doubt that the neighbors smell decomposition. And I hear it's a horrific smell, decomposition. So if they smelled it at the door or going into the door, the police, then the granddaughter rather, you have got to be a wacko sicko, you and your mama, because both of you living in the house smelling this dead woman and not notifying police. So I got to ask this question to the daughter, Celia, I believe that's her name. Did you fear your mother? It's why you did not contact law enforcement to the murder of your grandmother. Did you treat your grandmother well? Did you witness your mother mistreating your grandmother? Hell, did you both take turns mistreating this elderly lady? Why were you all there? Did you want to go tell the police what happened? Were you there the day your grandmother was killed? How about that? Bingo card. Oh, shit. Was this 21-year-old Black female present when her grandmother was murdered? That's what I'd like to know. Because what will be baffling if we find out later down the road that the granddaughter was there when grandma was killed and maybe even helped, but the mother lied and said that she didn't, that she only helped me after the fact. Wow, 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 wow. That's Miss Craig. A life snuffed out by her own spawn. And like I said, what will be disturbing is if we find out the granddaughter was present for the murder, aided in the murder, but the mother lied and said it was just her. That's my commentary. Be careful of the company you keep. Be very careful of the company you keep, whether it's your own child, a lover, a spouse, an ex, friend, neighbor. You need to know the company you're in. Because what's sad, sometimes there are no signs to mischief and what is yet to come, mayhem. That you may be sleeping with the enemy, that you have people in your home that are plotting against you to rob, steal from you, and unalive you. And I know this is a terrible thing to think about. And some of you out here are probably listening to this commentary thinking, oh, my child would never do me like that. My son would never kill me. My daughter would never, my granddaughter would never help or aid, or you don't know people. Never say never. Because who's to say if this woman could talk to us, this dead lady, she might be able to say the same. Oh, my child would never kill me. My child would never steal from me. Because you got to have one before the other. See, theft is what led to the murder. She didn't want to go to jail for stealing from her mama. So she'd rather forfeit her freedom to kill her mother and be locked up forever when she could have got a bail or bond and got out and just took the charges for theft. She would have got out of jail, depending on what you stole from her. Couple dollars, couple $100, you can still get a bail. It could have been free and just paid the money Grandma put all y'all out of her fucking house. And that's that. But I still believe she probably still would have tried to harm her. Because as you see, she probably didn't get a chance to even get her out of the house. Hey, get out of here. I want you to leave. Pack your things. Let's ask that question. Did she ask her to leave on this fateful night that she was murdered, the day she was murdered? She probably told her, I want you out this house. I'm calling the police. You done stole from me. Your ass can't stay here. Blah, blah, blah. Boom, boom, boom. Beat the mother up, beat her to death, shot her, whatever she did to her, stabbed her, and then dismembered her, asked her daughter for help, then tried to burn the lady on a grill. Are you hearing this? This is our America. Treachery. Betrayal. By those that say they love us, or by those we say we love. Know the company you're in. Trust no one. Because as I said, there's an uptick of homicides against parents. And you see a lot of it with Caucasian people, a lot of young men murdering their parents, young girls murdering their parents, or aiding in facilitating the murder of their parents for whatever reason. We had a football player that murdered his mother outside of Chicago, Illinois a little while ago. He fled to Mexico. They found her in the backyard of her home. One would say, same thing. Why was this grown-ass man living with his mother? Was he mentally ill, schizophrenic? See, same thing. Grown-ass man living with his mother. Why? Why was this woman living with her mother? Who knows? But nobody's together now. Mother and daughter incarcerated, and the mother is now deceased. Woman's daughter, granddaughter, accused of her murder, dismembering remains with a chainsaw in Landover, Maryland. That's my content. Thank you for joining me. Like, share, subscribe. Drop your comments below this video. What punishment should the daughter get? Should she get a chance at freedom? Although she didn't allegedly murder the grandmother, but she helped aid her own mother after the fact. What should her punishment be? When I get an update to the punishment for both, I'll bring you that update. But the mother has been found guilty. The daughter has already pled guilty to aiding after the fact. What should be the punishment of the daughter, Miss Craig? Should she get life in prison? Or should she get 25 to life? And also, a crazy story I saw earlier is this right here of a young black girl who was singing on stage in Dallas and shot by a spectator in the stand. Why did somebody shoot that girl? It was a black performing arts event. You know, one might have thought she was up there rapping or something, but that's another thing. Why should somebody get shot even if they were rapping? I thought maybe it was a controversial issue, gang issue. Just a black girl singing, performing, and she shot from someone, a female in the crowd, after she performed and she was signing autographs. See, the world is wicked. You don't know people. As I keep saying, the world is filled with blind trust. We are blind when we go out here in the world and navigate amongst people, whether we're related to them or not, know them, know of them. You can't ever say you know someone. Because I'm sure, as I said, the woman in this storyline didn't know that her own daughter would unalive her and her own grandchild would aid in her demise. That's my commentary. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $BeganG129 Cash App, stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. Please check out my earlier content pertaining to the 2024 election. Who will our next president be? Will it be Kamala Harris or Number 45. Lord have mercy. I hope not. Prayers for our great nation. Prayers to the family members of this lady who is no longer alive. And prayers for this Black female here who was gunned down, or excuse me, shot on stage rather. From my understanding, she's still in the hospital. Praying that she has a speedy recovery and justice for her. Don't know if this female knows her. They had some type of rivalry or just some psycho with a gun. But the thing about that story is, why didn't they do a security check of bags, persons, for her to get into the event with a weapon? I'm sure her family will probably sue, because if it was an outdoor event, you should have checked her, all persons. And if it was an indoor event, she should have been checked along with others. We live in a cruel world. And as I said, you don't know the hour you're going to leave here. And what is more baffling and sad, tragic, is to leave here by your own family, your own friend, a lover, relative, ex, a spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, even a child, your own child. Take the polls on my community page. Follow the Queen on the Newsbreak app. I also give commentary on that network. You will get a notification when I post videos or commentary, and also when I comment under another person's article. You will get a notification as a follower. Newsbreak, check me out. Same name. Thank you for your time. Let's do this countdown to see who the next president's going to be. Once again, prayers for the next 4 years. Prayers for our great nation. And prayers for our children, because they are our future. You have been listening to the Vault Excel. Thank you.